but my problem-solving, frightened animal brain has a tendency to look at things very narrowly. And it's been my experience that my mindfulness practice is no exception to this. So let me give you a personal example. There's so many different ways to meditate, right? To be mindful, to brain train, to do the push-ups of Zen. You've heard me call it many different things, to actually practice, to train. We can be mindful while we're walking. We can be mindfully training, bringing our concentration away from thoughts and back to the present moment when we're doing the dishes. And on, right? We can turn anything into a mindfulness practice. And for a variety of reasons, my least favorite one is sitting meditation. I have resisted sitting meditation. I think in part because I came to the world of Zen from yoga, and so I was used to moving my whole body as my form of meditation. And so sitting meditation, a lot of times it just doesn't feel right. It feels forced. I feel physically uncomfortable. Even though I've spent all these years practicing yoga so that I can be in a cross-legged position comfortably, but it's still kind of a funny posture, I still don't drive cross-legged, it's unnatural a little bit, given what I'm used to. I'm also, I really enjoy interacting. I'm a guy who learns with his hands. There's a reason why I spent 20 years doing massage and yoga therapy and not, trading at a computer. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. And so sometimes sitting meditation can feel too passive or even worse, esoteric for me. I have all these stories about why I don't like to sit, which is very funny, right? For a person who's been doing this for as long as I have and who loves it as much as I do. But this is the case. And so what that does in my life and in my practice is, if I'm not careful, right, because there are some old stories in my head about sitting being difficult or unpleasant, I can start to do less and less and less of it. It can kind of drift out of my practice. And then I can kind of pick my head up and be like, whoa, I haven't got on my cushion in 3 months. What's happening here? That's not okay. All right. So I just went through one of those phases where I caught myself and I was tweaking my morning routine, which I try to do often. I find, I like to have some consistency. I want to change everything every day. But every 6 months or so, I like to take a look at it and be like, is this still serving me? Is getting up at this time just as effective now in the summertime as it was in the wintertime? Things like that. And so I'm looking at my routine and I was like, oh man, I push sitting to this place where it's very unlikely it's actually going to happen, where it's competing with 3 other things. So I changed that and I sat down, and for, I want to say, at least a week, every time I sat my cushion and meditated, I had this same experience. And maybe you've had some version of it yourself. I sat down, I got everything set up, I have my spot, my little altar, etc. And I started sitting, and maybe 5 minutes in, roughly, because I'm eyes closed, right? So I don't know exactly, but a good while in, not 30 seconds in, my brain had this thought, what are you even doing right now? What's your object of concentration? What practice are you doing? What are you doing right now? And my brain answered itself, oh geez, I don't really know. I think I'm just kind of sitting here. Right? Because I hadn't set intention, because I was out of practice. I had just kind of plopped myself down on the cushion, closed my eyes. And so then I felt all this shame, oh geez, look at me. I'm supposed to be teaching this stuff, and I'm not even good at it, you know? I don't even know what I'm doing. And then I laughed at that, and I reset intention. And maybe I chose the breath or the body, and I started practicing. And then pretty quickly in again, maybe a couple minutes later, I had this thought. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you writing out your Costco shopping list right now? Like, that has nothing to do with your chosen object of concentration. What are you doing? Again! And then all those attendant thoughts, right? Of shame, of self-attack and criticism, of imposter syndrome. Like, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to be a Zen teacher and I can't even concentrate for 2 minutes? Right? That story. And I just watched this cycle again and again and again for about a week. Every time I sat, the entire sit, I'm sitting for 30 minutes in the morning right now. The entire sit was that cycle of me practicing, finding some fault in my practice, some imagined fault, attacking myself for it, experiencing shame and regret and embarrassment, disappointment in myself, and then seeing, oh, yeah, that's why you haven't been enjoying your sitting. Yeah, how could you enjoy this? And then actually practicing by accepting all of it. And being like, okay, let's try this again. And then returning to my breath, and a few minutes later, there I was again, in some self-abandoning, self-attacking story and distraction. And I gotta tell you, I really don't enjoy that. That sucks. It makes me feel sad, and it exhausts me. And it triggers really old wounds. Childhood trauma. Deep low self-esteem stuff from my adolescence. Really negative programming from the harsh and emotionally abusive way adults were around me when I was a child. And on and on and on. That kind of practice hurts. And so it's pretty natural that that's not my favorite style, because a lot of the time when I sit in my cushion, because I'm processing a lot of that kind of stuff, depression, anxiety, anger, low self-esteem, it comes up. But I've been doing this a long time. Thousands and thousands and thousands of those push-ups, of those trainings. So now, after about a week of that, I can feel my practice starting to settle again. Not that that cycle isn't present, but that it's just way faster and way gentler. So the story starts to come up, like I catch myself, right? Being inevitably distracted. And the story, I start to tell myself that story like, oh, you jerk. Oh, you phony. But it's real quick. Like, it only lasts for like a couple of seconds. And then my practiced brain, my loving awareness, remembering that I define mindfulness as simply paying attention with love, my loving awareness just kicks right back in. And it's like, don't say that. just sit there, breathe, pay attention to your breathing. Don't worry about that stuff. And so today, I just wanted to share that with you. As you heard me say before, I like to teach from what I'm experiencing. Because I know we're in the same boat. We're experiencing a lot of the same things. There's a lot of repetition in being human. More than we like to admit, I think. And so I just wanted to let you know that I've been doing this for like 25 years and I'm still having that experience. That is as real as the rain.